Hello and welcome to my first artist studio vlog. So I've been doing YouTube. I've probably had an account for about 6 months now, but I've been making videos properly for a couple of months, and it's really hard and very time consuming to do all the editing and everything. I'm still learning an awful lot about it. So I thought, in addition to actual tutorials, and those would be art tutorials and art business advice and practical tutorials like framing, in addition to those I'm going to do some quicker sort of studio vlogs where I don't have to do as much editing and I can just talk directly to the camera and just give you an idea of how I work on a day-to-day basis as a professional artist. So if you yourself have ambitions to work in this field, then hopefully you'll get some idea of what it takes to be a professional in this field. And if you are somebody that's just looking to improve their art skills, then hopefully you can have a little look at the projects that I'm doing and get some ideas from those. And even just, I think it's nice sometimes to see inside studios and just have an idea of how things are laid out and shelving and things. I've got lots of good ideas from other people myself that way. So first of all, I'd just like to say a big thank you to those of you who have subscribed to me so far. I've got about 200 odd subscribers now. And it's really nice. I'm still at that sort of early stage in YouTube of trying to sort of haul subscribers in one at a time, but it's going quite well so far. And if you are in the UK, there is a very tiny chance that you know who I am, because I'm sometimes in art magazines and I've been on BBC Radio and things like that. So if you're an amateur artist in the UK, there's a tiny chance that you know who I am. If, however, you're in America or Germany or somewhere like that, then you have obviously no idea who I am. So it's really a nice big leap of faith for you to press that subscribe button when I'm at this early stage in my YouTube career. So thank you very much. So I called this video Not Working, and the reason for that is because a few months ago I was at a business networking meeting. I go to them every 2 weeks. I find them really helpful. And my friend Denise saw this on Facebook and she very amusingly put, "Oh, I see you're not working again." So I thought that was quite cute. Networking, not working. Maybe it's an old joke, but I hadn't heard it before, so I thought that was quite funny. But on a serious note, it is something I've had to deal with for the whole of my career, is people who think that you don't actually do much work or that it isn't a serious job. So when I started out, I actually had a blog. It's probably, I mean, you could search here, it's full of the most appalling garbage, but you could search it if you want to, and it's called Not Getting a Real Job. And I named it that because I was so sick of people asking me when I was going to get a real job. And although a lot of that was in jest, some of it when I started out was deadly serious, and I had a young child to support, and people thought I was being very irresponsible, and frankly on some kind of high hopes of ever being ever even selling one painting, let alone being successful in this career. And I made it my business to prove them wrong. So that is something that if you work freelance like this, you have to deal with. So if you work in the arts, you're working alongside all of those other creative people who decide to fly without a safety net. So you're working alongside artists, writers, musicians, and although there are some paid jobs, what I would call paid employment, and although there are some long-term contracts, the vast majority of your working life is freelance. And I sometimes have people say to me, "God, I would love to be able to just paint all day and get paid for doing that. What a dream job." Well, let me at this point, let me disavow you of the idea that that is a job that ever exists for anybody, because it certainly doesn't exist in my life, and I don't think it exists in most creative people's lives. So if you work as a freelance artist, you can probably expect to spend 50% of your time or more on administration tasks, accounts, admin, meetings. There are so many things. That have to be done in order to make a creative career work, and it's not just a matter of sitting and painting all the time. And you will get comments from your friends. I get comments from my friends saying, "Oh, I see you on Facebook again today, Michelle." That's funny, but they don't see me working until 11 p.m. quite often. So I do have that flexibility in my job, and it's fantastic. I can just take a day off and go shopping, but I will pay for it later on, and I will have to put the hours in later on. I have friends of mine, guys I train with at Kung Fu training in the evening, and I'll get in and I'll say, "Oh, I've just come from work," by which I mean usually teaching art classes, and they'll say something like, I didn't know you worked, Michele, which of course is, you know, I find it funny, it is funny. But there is a real thing in this industry that people don't assume that you do any work. But the reality is that if you work in this industry, if you work freelance, every single penny has to be hauled in through the door by the scruff of its neck. You know, you don't just sit there and paint pictures and money falls on your head. There's an awful lot of other work involved, and there's an awful lot of organisation and an awful lot of business skills that are required to make this career a reality. So I just thought I'd give you that little insight, and that's not to put anybody off. It's just that if you understand how these things work, then you have a much better chance of success. I think I will also at this point just quickly show you my art studio. Now, years ago I used to read stuff about people with art studios. You know, I'd read these glossy magazines, and here's this lady who has this lovely art studio set in acres of land, and her husband helps her all day long, and you just think to yourself, oh my God, you know, I felt eaten up with jealousy. You know, who are these people? Where do they get the money for these art studios, and who are these partners and husbands who give up their own work just to help them with their career? Well, although my life isn't like that, I do at least now have a studio, but this is after many, many years of working on the kitchen table, working with a small child, running, you know, other people's children as well, running around my heels, having to move piles of ironing, you know, trying to sort of stretch paper and having to put them on top of the TV because there's no room for the boards on the kitchen table. So if you're still at that position, you know, if you haven't got anywhere special to do your artwork, then I sympathise and I understand. And don't be jealous, just be thinking to yourself that one day you can have a really lovely studio too. No studio is perfect. This one is not perfect. It looks very lovely. In the summer it's frequently too hot, in the winter it's frequently too cold. Because it's wooden, I do get a lot of spiders and bugs come in. I don't mind them actually, but sometimes the spiders set off the motion sensor alarms, which is a little bit of a nuisance. And recently I've had a lot of leaks from the roof, and it doesn't matter how much we repair it, because it's a wooden building, you know, you still got problems with leaks. So I don't want to show you this art studio and for you to think that I'm living some kind of perfect life, because I'm not. But I think it's really nice to have a look around, and I will do another vlog where I show you in depth all the things that I've got in my studio, and some of the things like the storage arrangements, and how the paintings hang on the wall, because I think that would be quite interesting for you to see. So I'm going to pick the camera up now and just spin round very slowly. Forgive the appalling lighting, because it is evening here, early evening here in the UK, and so of course it's already dark and pretty miserable. You can see the big table where I work, and I have got a load of boards on there at the moment because I've been stretching paper today, which is a crazy thing that watercolour artists do. So I hope that gave you some insight into my life, and I hope that going forward I can give you lots more information about how artists work and what we do to bring in income, and just to show you some of the projects that I'm working on in a little bit more sort of informal detail than I can when I'm working on a specific tutorial. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. Please do like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you again in my studio soon.